rumors spreading round. United Texas town.
All right, what do you got?
This Swamp Ash Special PRS. They tried to compete with a Stratocaster a little bit. It's got two humbuckers and a single coil. It's got maple neck, bolt-on maple neck. And it was for the people who like Telecasters and Strats who wanted to buy a PRS. It's a little hotter than a regular Fender. You can tap the coil.
Nice.
Neck's a little wider than the others.
See here we have a beautiful 100-year anniversary edition bike. I always loved this particular bike. I love the color. The silver and black was always awesome. And my favorite thing personally was that emblem. I thought that was pretty cool. Tell me a little bit about the bike and you know, what did you do, or you know, tell me a little history of this thing.
I didn't do too much to it. I bought it to change it around completely. I needed another soft tail frame with a twin cam motor in it. I got a good deal on this bike, and then when I started looking at it and cleaning it up and actually rode it, it rides beautiful the way it was, and it was all original. I just put different handlebars and running boards because on turns I like to put my feet flat. And I said, you know what, I'm not going to take it apart. I'm leaving it just all basically stock. And like I said, it runs beautiful. It handles great. So I don't know what I think maybe the Deuce has a little bit of a different rake on the frame, but the bike runs smooth as hell.
It looks long and lean. The 21-inch front wheel, how did that, that handles pretty good?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of them have 21s. I always put 21s, but with the potholes you got now, I'm more comfortable with the 16s. I'll ram the pothole and not worry about the wheel.
You on the 21s, you run high pressure? Or?
30 pounds, 25 pounds.
Yeah, okay. Cool, it's a good looking bike, this one. All right, man, I had mentioned before to you privately when we were talking, I'm like a kid in a candy store when I'm looking at all of these bikes. And let's check this one out. So what year, first of all, what year is this bike?
This is 2003.
This is 2003, it's the anniversary, right?
Yes.
And the model, this is a Deuce, soft tail Deuce?
Right.
Okay.
It was basically, I think they did away with the soft tail custom and they came out with this.
This is an 80 cubic inch motor?
I think it's 1450, 88.
Yeah, okay, nice.
They put nice turn down legs, you know, it's different setup. They cleaned it up like a soft tail custom up a lot. And they came out with this longer tanks.
The soft tail custom had the bobtail fender.
Yes, and it had the regular stock fat bob tanks, but everybody was running stretch tanks, so I think Harley said, let's make it a little different. And they made the tanks a little longer.
Right. This is a good looking bike. So in looking at this bike, I remember the soft tail custom had the 21 front with the wide glide front end. And I always remembered having a bobtail fender. So this fender has a really unique shape.
Right.
There's a little history to that, huh?
A lot of people don't like that fender. Personally, I wasn't crazy about it, but I think the history behind that fender is, years ago, when they could only buy an FLH, was the only big twin you could buy, and guys were customizing them, and they weren't making a lot of custom parts. They would take a front fender like that,
wow,
and put it on the back. And if you look at the front of that fender and the back of this fender, that's the kind of idea it is.
Oh,
the
wow.
FLH had the hinged fender with the big hinge. It was basically like that, but it was hinged.
Right, I remember that.
If you cut it, you know, you took it off at the hinge, it was just a straight cut, it didn't look right.
Right.
But if you put the front fender backwards on the back, it looked like this. And they incorporated a tail light, which people used to do. They put 32 Ford tail light or 59 Caddy tail light in the back fender. It's basically a Frankenstein. I don't even know what year to call it. I bought this bike for the motor and transmission. It had a Delcron motor and transmission in it. and I was looking for a motor and transmission for another bike. So I bought this, and it sat here for 1.5 years with no motor and transmission in it. And then I said, you know what, it's taking up the room of a whole bike, so I might as well find a motor and transmission and put it back on the road. It's a soft tail frame with sort of an old Electric Glide front end with the big nacelle.
Yeah.
But the ride's good, and I found a guy who was doing a twin cam conversion on an FXR, so he took out this motor, which only had about 20,000 miles on it. For an Evo motor, that's not a lot at all.
Right.
And he was putting a twin cam in, and I got a good deal on the motor. He advertised it. He didn't realize how cheap he put it up for until the next night when 22 people were calling him for it, but I got there first. And I bought it. I didn't know how it ran or anything, but it runs beautiful, runs strong.
Love it, man. Loving it.
That was the paint on it and everything. The only thing I put was the tank panel.
Right.
That I made when I was a kid.
Was this decal already there?
Yeah. That's a decal, I think, with clear lacquer sprayed over it.
That's what it looks like. Yeah. I have a buddy of mine. His name is Boris Yanis. He has his bike has black and purple, a lot of purple highlights in it and stuff. So you see that is becoming more popular. A lot of people are doing that. He did it by powder coating certain parts and stuff. Very interesting work he's done and very creative. Yeah, but this is a unique bike again. But you know, this other bike over here, this really caught my eye, this blue one. Now, this front end, this wide glide front end is pretty cool with our teardrop light. And then those are the coolest little fishtails, man. And then I look at it, I'm just talking. It's amazing the detail, attention to detail that I'm seeing with your sissy bar. And it actually matches the design and the paint. And that's a pretty cool little paint job as well with the that's pretty interesting.
The sissy bar was made first.
Really?
And then when I was...
You built the bike around the sissy bar?
Well, I pieced the bike together, but then I wanted a little scrolling here and there in the handlebars. And,
oh, wow. I just...
You know, and I made the, out of chain, the old welder links of the chain together for the shifter thing. And the brake anchor here is 2 eye bolts welded together, opposite directions.
Wow, look at this.
So I wanted something different on the sissy bar, so I made up that design, again with eye bolts, and I bent some of the stuff. And when I was painting the bike, I was looking at it from the back, and I said, you know what? How about if I put that design on the tank? Don't ask me why. Everybody says, what does that mean? And I have something I tell them. I don't know if I could say it on film. Yeah, I could say it, right?
You could say it, yeah.
Okay, man loves woman. So that's what I tell them it means.
Oh, you're allowed to say that.
I don't know if it's a family show here.
It is what it is. And
the pipes, these ends were on upsweeps up to here years ago.
Okay.
But I loved the smaller fishtails, which you can't get no more. You only get the big fishtails.
Yeah.
So I took a set of pipes, shovel pipes, and welded them together and made fishtail drag pipes with the old...
I like the way the tank is set up with the petcock coming back here. Do you ever bump into that with your leg or anything? And
No, because it's down when the bike's running.
Okay.
That red cap reminds me to open up the oil. I shut the oil when I'm not using the bike so it doesn't sump. I got a valve there.
Yeah.
So that red cap reminds me to open that valve.
That's what it means to you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now this bike started entirely with the gas tank.
Don't lose that red cap, by the way.
I got more.
All right. So what year would you say this is? What is?
The motor is a 1973 shovel head.
73 shovel head.
Right. And what happened is, one of the shops, could I mention the name?
Yeah.
Yeah, Prestige called me up. They said, we got a shovel head motor, a front end, and some parts with a title that a guy's selling to pay for his other bike work. Nobody in the shop wants to deal with old motors, and you're the first one I thought of. So I said, what do you want for it? So he told me, I grabbed it. It looked like it was underwater. That's all rebuilt and chrome.
Yeah.
But it was a good deal. So now I had a motor and a front end. While I was there, that gas tank was up on a shelf, and I always thought it was cool.
On your shelf?
Oh, no, on their shelf.
On their shelf.
Lowbrow Customs makes that. And I like to have the petcock all the way in the back, except you have no reserve, and the little cap in the front all the way up top. So you're getting a full 3 gallons, 2.5 gallons, whatever. So now I had a motor, a tank, and a front end, so of course it had to turn into a whole bike. And just went up to Ted's warehouse sale and bought a bunch of stuff and turned into another bike, which my wife, every time I buy one part, she goes like this, because she knows this, whether it's a tank, a wheel, a sissy, but that's going to turn into a whole nother bike, or if I'm making a part.
Okay, cool. Let me go back to this bike real quick.
Okay.
Which model was this?
It's basically...
You were saying it's a Frankenstein, so it's
a soft tail frame, so it could have been like a Fat Boy. It was originally, on the title, it was called a REC Custom. It was originally built as a boutique bike.
Okay.
A guy built it from parts, but I guess he was a manufacturer, so he got the title on it.
Nice. Okay.
But it's basically styled after a Fat Boy. If it had solid wheels, I'd say it was a Fat Boy, but with the spokes, I'd say it's sort of a heritage.
And this one you said is a 73. What model would you?
It's 73 shovel head.
Yeah. Okay.
It's got a 5-speed RevTech tranny in a 4-speed case, so it fits in the 4-speed frame.
I mean, even the blue and on the open primary right here, where we. That, matching everything. That's, it's all these little details of what make this bike, man.
Car guys would know exactly what that is, and you probably know too.
Yeah, from inside of the rim?
Cleaner on a car.
Oh, okay,
Screw cap.
Yeah.
But I didn't want just the nut there, and I forgot to order a chrome acorn for that, so I was messing around one day. I said, I'm going to put that and paint it blue. So I attached it to the nut.
Do you name these bikes? Do you give them names? Some people do. I don't. I don't name my bikes, but I know other people, they do. I don't,
well, just so, like, if my wife says, what bike you take? Like, that one's the Alien, and you'll see why in a little while.
Okay.
This one I just say is the Flame bike.
Okay. Flame bike, that
blue.
There you go, the blue bike.
And the Old Girl.
The Old Girl.
That one I have 40-something years.
Okay, all right. So
they're not really named.
You're kind of like me. You just, they are what they are, and you refer to them the way you refer to them. Some people give them a name.
Yeah, no.
Like Sal Mondello's like that. He
he
names all his bikes. He's got a name and a story.
Mm-hmm.
I got to get him to do an interview because he's got some nice stuff.
Yeah.
Tell me about the Flame bike. What's the story with this puppy right here, man? This is nice.
Typically, a friend called me up. He said, I got a knucklehead frame. You want to buy it? I said, how much? The price was good. I ran down to the Bronx, bought the frame. So I needed a motor and everything else. A friend of mine who owned a shop in Carmel years ago was redoing his Softail, and he wanted a reason to buy a new S&S motor, but he really didn't want to spend the money, but he decided to freshen up the motor on his Softail. And when he took the heads and barrels off, the cases were cracked and a piece fell right into the motor. And what it was from 84 to I think early 94, Harley put the studs in backwards. In other words, there's a shoulder on the bottom here that locks against the case, and then on the top you got a shoulder nut that goes down on the stud. whoever made the studs for him put the wrong threads on the wrong side, and Harley used them that way.
Oh, wow.
So what happened, a lot of guys were getting problems with the base gaskets leaking, head gaskets leaking. That shoulder bolt was hitting that shoulder on the stud and driving it down into the cases and stripping them, where that was supposed to stop it from going in there. So he called Harley on it when he took the motor apart. He noticed on the inside of the case that there was a little indent, and he mic'd out that shoulder and the indent, and that shoulder fit in there. So he tried turning the studs around. The threads were different. So he called Harley. They said, we know, we're aware of the problem. Send us your bottom end, we'll send you a brand new one, which he did. But he had already bought a brand new S&S motor.
Oh, okay.
So I bought the lower end off him all together. Then I bought heads and barrels. John Petrozzi put the motor together. We put a cam, we put roller rockers. And now the trick was to fit an Evo motor in a knucklehead frame.
Yeah, I'm gonna. So this is a Frankenstein.
Oh yeah, most of these are Frankensteins. But so I had to actually flatten under here. I wasn't using these. I was using the regular flat ones.
Right.
I thought I had enough room. I had enough room with the flat ones. Then I saw these. I had to use them. So that's why it looks like there's no room. You can put a piece of loose leaf paper under there, but that's about it. I had to cut here. Bend this up.
Tolerance is super tight,
Yeah.
man. But I do see light all the way through. Yeah.
I had to cut the frame, put slugs in here, stretch it about an inch to lift this up. Then I cut that tube out of here and welded in this piece of metal. Yeah, it goes from here to here. It's solid steel. So while I was cutting that out with the torch, I said, you know what? Instead of that all being empty, let me cut a little flame out of it too. And by stretching the frame, bending this, I got the Evo motor to fit in the knuckle frame.
You know you're a member of the dying breed. There's not a lot of fabricators, guys that fabricate custom and work on choppers like that anymore. It just doesn't happen.
There's some young kids up in Cold Spring. My friend John and his son Cody, they're doing stuff like this.
Oh, really?
Young kid, they're like 26, 27. They got a welder, who paints, and they're building some nice bikes.
Nice. That's good to hear.
Mad Dog up in Cold Spring.
Mad Dog up in Cold Spring. Okay. Yeah. Shout out to him. That's for sure. That's awesome.
You're
man.
right. There's like Sal Mondello, me, guy Tony in the Bronx, and his friends. Scattered guys are building stuff.
You told me about Tony in the Bronx. I definitely would like to meet him.
Stuff too.
What's the history here?
This, I needed a sissy bar. So I had a regular sissy bar.
This is rebar, huh?
Yes, I took the top off it so it looked like a serpent tail. I left the rebar on the bottom, and I made that. This was all downtime at work. I'm cutting with my torch. Welded it all up. Ask Sal about this. He hates it.
Does he?
He had it on the lift. He was working on the back wheel doing something, and he stood up. He got a nice notch in his forehead.
Wow. Okay. That's awesome. That's a cool bike.
This is actually a rigid old fender that was down to here. It was like flat, then it had the rib, and I wanted the bob, but I didn't want the big fender, so I cut the fender all down.
How did you make this this folded look? See how it's got that raised?
Was there.
Oh, okay.
That was there, but it was flat, and then it had the bead.
Okay, so that bead, you cut it shy of the bead, but you made it look like it was made that way.
Right.
That's pretty cool. All right, so here we have a real classic bike here. All right, we're gonna start out with looking at those handlebars that say Alien on there. We'll get the full story. We'll get the full story in a minute. I like that. You know what that headlight reminds me of?
E.T.
E.T.
That's why it's an Alien.
Without a doubt, that reminds me of E.T.
As a matter of fact, I looked that up. It's called the E.T. Rider headlight.
You're kidding me?
No.
Seriously?
Yeah.
Wow. So anyway, look at this bike, man. It is friggin' unbelievable. Look at the detail, attention to detail in the pipe, the shape, the rear fender. It's like out of the Jetsons with that fender. Little mini solo. Again, the A back here. We're gonna find out what that's all about in a minute. And then again, look at the attention to detail. Holy cow! On the gas cap, on the gas tank, on the rear fender,
on the frame.
You tie everything together, man. Look at this under the frame.
On the front tubes.
You know, those are the things that like the average person isn't gonna catch. They're not gonna catch it. But then when you really do a deep dive into the bike, it's like, holy cow, you got a lot of free time. Wait, this all came up. I mean, I know you didn't start out with that in mind. It just kind of evolved, right? Tell me your story about this bike.
All right. Again, I picked up a frame from a shop in Terrytown with a certificate of origin. I wanted to build another bike. I said, let me start with a frame because there was a lot of detail on the frame I wanted to do. Like all this, again, I cut the tube out here, welded in all sheet metal. You know, I wanted to do all this stuff. So I started doing all that. I cut the back off the frame because the Softail has two things here for the fender struts. And then I started saying, you know what, I need a motor and transmission for this thing. And that's when I bought this purple bike, because this is a Delcron motor and transmission. And I liked it, and I got a good deal on the bike, so I used it for this.
That's an Evo.
It's an Evo, yeah. But I don't know how big it is or anything because there's no history on the motor. Like I said, it's a Delcron motor. I had this gas tank, and this is from Lowbrow Customs. It's called a narrow alien tank. So I says, okay, we got the ET, my friend John gave me that headlight. When he saw me doing this, he said, I got a headlight for you that's gonna go on this bike. So the story of the bike is, when I grew up in the Bronx, there was a president of the Bronx Aliens, lived down the street from me. My neighbor was a hot rodder. I got into motors. Couldn't wait to have a car until I was on my bicycle, loved the wind in my face on the bicycle. I says, boy, if I could ride the bicycle without pedaling, that would be cool. So, of course, we started putting motors on bicycles and chopping them. But the guy moved down the street from me, built all these things. He worked, I think, with Moto back in the Bronx years ago at first. He had two bikes. One was called the Batik, and it had all fins and stuff. I don't remember. I wish I had a picture of it. Another guy from the Aliens, Frank Romano, or Phil Cousy, had a back fender like that, sorted out with fins on it. Didn't have the balls. Now Harry's bikes, the Batik was a dark purplish blue, beautiful bike. It was scrolling in the handlebars, said Batik and all that. And his other bike was very similar to that, with an axe tank on it, like that, and it was called My Lily, and it was this color. So I kind of combined his two bikes into a Softail frame. So it's a combination of the Batik and My Lily. And of course, with the alien tank, the alien headlight, I had to call it the Alien with the fins. And that's what the A in here stands for. Basically, I was too lazy to figure out what else I could put in there.
Right.
I was welding it up, so I just put an A in there.
So, when you say the alien bike, so this is because of where you got started. Then the Bronx Aliens had an influence on you when you were young.
Big time. Yeah, I used to stand and stare at their bikes for hours, and watch Harry build bikes in his garage. Now, getting back to Aliens, these bars, it had a little more stuff on them. But they belonged to a friend of mine who was in the Aliens, Jojo Doria. And it said Jojo in them, and when he passed away, his brother gave me the handlebars. I had them hanging on the wall for a while. I said, you know what, Jojo would rather see them on a bike than on the wall. So I took the Jojo out and I wrote Alien in there, and that's how these bars came apart. So between the light and the fact that he was an alien and the style, and just called it the Alien.
Wow, that's awesome. That's a great story. All right, just finishing up with the Alien. Okay, everyone, thank you for joining us at Moto-Chronicles with our special interview with Charlie Terranova, Master Builder. We look forward to seeing you soon. Don't forget, check out part 2 and click like and subscribe, and we'll see you soon.
Living in the same old life. I feel too cold to live, too young to die. Will you walk the line like it's there to choose? Just forget the wins, it's the best to use. Won't you follow me into the jungle?